such a high suicide rate and depression and poor weather. How could this be classified as the happiest country in the world? Hello guys, and welcome to another video. Also, welcome to Helsinki in Finland. It's one of the Nordic countries, and right now it's actually really cold. 1st of October, so I think the winter's just rolling in. Behind me is the magnificent Oodi Library. I think Oodi Library. I'll put it up on the screen, but it's not any other library. This is gonna blow your mind away. Also, in this video, I'll give you guys a tour of this city. There are a few really interesting facts and something that's gonna be interesting to know anyway in general. So here am I with my friend Javier from Argentina, living in Germany. That's where we're gonna end up our trip anyway. What did you think about the library?
Amazing. I've never seen something like this.
The amount of services you have in this library, it's gonna be like something I have never heard of in my life. Like, no. You can, it's not just library in terms of just books and stuff. There's a lot of other stuff you can do in here. So it's just called library, but I think it's just a little city itself. All right guys, bear with me. There's gonna be a few stuff coming up here. So this one here is the automatic book return system. They also have robots here. They're moving books around. It should come up on the screen. Of course, when I'm making the video, that's not going to happen. Over there, you can play chess. Because what else you do when it's so cold outside? So this system is all managed by computers and the robots. Here, come up on the screen. See, just like that. Here is the best tour guide in Helsinki. Thanks, brother. That was good. I'm stealing your job. He was the tour guide. He was one of the best.
Yeah.
He was really good. He knows what he's doing. This library was opened in 2018, and the government, before they built it, they actually had a poll asking people what services would they like in the library. And apart from the books, people gave all these random suggestions, but the government actually took them in consideration. So here you have a 3D printer. It's free of charge. You just pay for the cost of the material. I think 70 cents or something.
70 cents.
It's super cheap. And then you can also hire one of these rooms, their workplace. So you can have them for 3 hours a day, pre-book them on the website, different cabins. We just chill here. And now we have a laser printer. So if anyone wants to print on the glass, metal, fabric, can be done here as well. Also, we have the sewing machines. So if you're into, I don't know, fabric, that kind of stuff, you can just come in here and do that stuff. It's all free, by the way. Everything is free. They got advanced computers, and these bad boys here are touch screens. And they also come with the digital pen. So if you're into, I don't know, those, what do you call them, Apple Pen or something like that, you can do that as well. Well, I don't know if you see this in a normal library, but they have a music garage. So you can actually rent one of these and return them once you're done. PlayStation, of course, it is all part of the library. Xbox, PlayStation, anything. And if you're into old school consoles, here they are. What is that? Someone was playing Pac-Man. You can also record your own music. There are the music studios, so you can bring your own equipment, record tracks. Again, free of cost, no charges. Now we are getting to the top and the third level. While we're walking up there, how cool are these stairs? So the actual library, and they have books in almost every language. But my favorite part of this library is that glass. It's a smart glass. So those dots over there, not talking about the screen, those little dots, they actually appear and disappear according to the sunlight. So when the sun is super bright, which doesn't happen often, I believe, the dots kind of like increase in the density, and they kind of like prevent a lot of sunlight getting in there. But once the sun's gone, the dots kind of disappear. It's really clever. And I think it's also they preserve heat with the dots, because they're like, yeah.
To protect the birds.
This is so smart. What is it? And with this library here, what did he say? You can rent drill machines, tools, screwdrivers, music instruments, books. What else?
You don't even need the house here.
Literally. Oh, kitchen. There's a kitchen here. So if you have a party or something like that, you can bring food, drinks, and rent a kitchen. What else was it? Music studio, kitchen, books, tools. There's a sauna in there. And by the way, talking about sauna, it's called sauna. That's how you pronounce it?
That's it.
So
Sauna.
So it's not sauna, it's sauna. And sauna is so important to the Finnish culture and the country itself that they actually have more saunas than the cars. So the population of Finland is about 6 million, roughly. They have about 2 million cars and 2-point-something million saunas. That's how much they love sauna. So there's sauna facts, which we will be talking about it once we get out in the city. Anything we're forgetting about this library before we leave? This is all free, by the way. So all the rooms, the group rooms, the individual rooms, internet, tools, everything free. But when I say free, there's a caveat, because nothing is free in life. But we'll get to that part. Let's go for a walk in the city.
Let's go.
Here is the view from the top of the library. It's huge. It's literally a city. As Javier said, you can actually live here and no one would even know. I want to see those robots before we walk away. Let's go find them. Oh, found it over there. So this guy here, they're all robotic. Oodi, so that's the library name, Oodi. And another thing, so the top bit is the Finnish language, and everything below that, it's Swedish. And Swedish is the second language here. The first one is Finnish, of course, we're in Finland, but they're so close and the history is really merged together, so they kind of recognizes each other's languages, which is really nice. And of course, a library would be incomplete without restaurant. Got a buffet system in the back, and there are a few cafes on both sides. From cafes, I remember what Norway is the one of the three biggest consumers of coffee.
Yes, they said all the Nordic, Sweden, Norway, and Finland.
They consume I think per person about 22 kilos a year.
Like 12
12 kilos,
in
sorry.
a year.
12 kilos a year they consume per person. That's a lot of coffee. But saying that, today is exceptionally beautiful day. This part of the world doesn't get much sunlight. It's usually cloudy, cold. I mean, this afternoon is much warmer than when we started off in the morning. It was freezing. Not freezing, but cold. It was cold. Saying that, it's the depression rate and the mental health. Of course, when it's a bad weather, cloudy, it's always higher. The weather affects the mood. However, given that Finland has been announced or has been known for the happiest country in the world, so one could think, well, with such a high suicide rate and depression and poor weather, I'll call it poor weather, how could this be classified as the happiest country in the world? Well, the reason for that is they're not talking about people dancing around and laughing and singing. At least, if anything, they're opposite. They are very introvert people. You don't see Finnish people talking with each other much, except they're in sauna. When they're in sauna, they're very social, they talk a lot, but usually they're very introvert. However, when you talk about the quality of life, they are the best in the world. We'll talk about that a bit later. Let's get out of here and go through the train station. Goodbye, Oodi Library. Oodi, how do you say Oodi?
I don't know.
Oodi. Let's call it
What
Oodi.
was it?
I think it's Oodi. So as you can see, we are in the Helsinki Central train station. Because Helsinki is located in the southernmost part of Finland, all the trains, wherever they go, must leave here. And they also come here as well. It's one of the busiest city and the train station. And what do you see right now? That's busy. They're not crazy amount of people living here. As I said before, 6 million-ish. Not a lot. And that's the metro station, right? So Helsinki has the northernmost metro system in the world. So you see these fellas here, those statues, the two here, two on the other side, they are the guardians of Helsinki. So they're holding lanterns, and every time there's a special event, the government actually, let's say Finland is playing national sport, they'll put jerseys on top of these statues. During COVID, the mouths were covered with a mask, so stuff like that. So they do, it's like an indirect communication to the members of the public by the government. So if something happening, those statues, they will have some sort of influence on them. So we walk into the city centre, and while I get there, so the jails in Norway, there's no security guard. People, they have a bracelet, like an ankle bracelet or some sort of GPS device, but that's about it. They literally just come in, check out, and it's more like a rehabilitation than punishment. crime rate in Finland is low anyway. Quality of life is super high. If anyone loses job, they get the government benefits where we're generous. Also, the maternity leave here is for 3 years, and every time a baby is born, the mother gets a decent chunk of money from the government, as well as some toys, all the baby kind of stuff, you know, like, I don't know, whatever the diapers and all the kind of stuff is. So in terms of that, you might be thinking where all this money is coming from. Well, before that, I'll show you something else. So here, this street, it's the main street, and it's called Alexandri, what is it? I can't pronounce it. That one over there on the top. Alexandri Katu. At the bottom, as I said before, everything is in Sweden as well. So on top we got Finnish language, bottom is Swedish. So imagine trying to remember these street names. It's really difficult. So to overcome that problem, the people from here, they come up with this smart idea. Just above the street name, you see, what kind of animal was that?
I don't know what is it. Looks like a squirrel. I don't know what it is.
But anyway, so that's one. That one there is definitely a rabbit.
Rabbit, yeah. Read that.
So that there, that's rabbit. And then if you move over here, avoiding all the trams.
A deer or what?
I think that's deer. Yeah, I think that's deer. And then on the other side, there's something else as well. So pretty much, instead of writing a street name, they can say a camel block, or rabbit block, or giraffe block. So that's one way to, and that's official as well. So anyone who's trying to deliver a parcel, a mail, or anything, the address says camel block, so they know exactly where it is. That's one way. Necessary? I don't know. I don't live here, but I do see that's really smart. One way to not get confused with those complicated names, because Finnish language is apparently the 6th most difficult language in the world. There are different sets of rules and the grammar, but that also bring to a problem of long letters. So a lot of the words have 30, 40, 50, even 60 characters. So how do you overcome that? You either color code things, or you put little animals or that kind of stuff to say, okay, we don't need to remember the street name, it's a camel block. I like the idea. While we're walking past the Finland flag, so it's called white and blue. So the blue represent the lakes. They have a lot of lakes, and the white, of course, the snow. So cold here. So 9 out of 12 months it's cold here, and of course snows. So white and blue. And of course that's a unicorn block. Another thing I remember while looking at 1,000 kids who just walk past us. So education in Finland is free. But not only that, the schools is only for like 20 hours a week. So let's say on Monday, they will have a school for like 3 hours, Tuesday, maybe 4 hours, and so on. 20 hours a week, and that's it. No exams, because they don't want people or kids to compete with each other. So there's no exams at all, so you can't pass or fail. And I do understand that part of education because it's all about learning, it's not about competing. Now, if that you think is amazing or different, well, they also get free lunches. So students come to school for a few hours and get free lunch. But in life, there's nothing for free. Some of you might be thinking, well, the jail system, you know, the way that works, there's no security, schools are free, libraries are big, where all this money is coming from. So, drum roll, tax here, it's like 67 to even high 70s per person. That's ridiculous. But I don't know. Do you like pay less tax and then you pay for every other service, or do you just pay a big tax and the government looks after everything? I think it's conflicting, it's contradictory, and it's going to work for different with different people. The mindset of Finnish people, it works very differently. So for them, this is great. No one complains about it. Everyone pays taxes. When someone loses a job, they get benefits, free education, and hence the people, the Finnish people, have been the happiest people in the world because of the quality of life they have. And of course, it comes with the cost. But it's working, and I can see why they don't have any issues with it, because the amount of services they're getting, that makes it worth it. Today is a special day because we see a lot of flags are flying. We've got two over there. That yellow and blue, that's the Swedish embassy, so embassy is always going to fly their flag. But in Finland, it's illegal to raise flag except a special day. So they have like 23 days, like Independence Day. I don't know, like it has to be a special event, and then they raise the flag. Only one building here is allowed to raise flag 24/7, 365 days a year, and that is that building over there, the blue one. And it's because it's the council's office of Helsinki. And the reason for that is because we have a port here. So a lot of people, when the tourists come in, the first thing they see is the Swedish embassy, and then they get confused. Are we in Norway, Finland, or not Norway? Why I keep saying Norway? Are we in Finland or are we in Sweden? So to erase the confusion, the government said, okay, let's raise the Finland flag a little bit higher than the Swedish embassy, and only this building is allowed to have a flag 24/7. But all of the flags, it's illegal. You cannot raise them. There's an exception for a special day. Let's say there's a newborn child, there's a festival, there's a wedding, then there's an exception. Our flag can be only raised between 8 in the morning till sunset. Very different tradition and how things work here. It's a very different country, I'm not gonna lie. I've been to many places, but Finland is very different in a nice way. One thing I think we both got clarified is the Finnish people, they're not rude. They're just introvert.
Yeah, totally.
Except
It happens all around the Nordic countries, I think.
Well, you can't blame because the weather is depressing.
Yeah, it could be a little bit depressing.
It's cold. It's like
Cold, dark.
you know, like no one wants to talk. But they do talk in sauna. So they have a lot of saunas here. Some of the saunas you can pay 25 euros, but some are even cheaper. They got so many saunas. At that Ferris wheel over there, once we get closer, you will see there's one cabin that's darker. It's like the rest of them are blue and white, but one is like dark, and that is sauna. That's how much they love their sauna. And the cost for that is 250 roughly euros for 4 people. Options there. But they have saunas everywhere. Everywhere. And that over there, the reddish looking building, it's the Russian Orthodox Church. So Finland was part of Russia once. It was, part of different empires, but Russian also came here. And that's gonna bring us to the next location, which we'll have to walk across the road. But the Orthodox Church, that's a gift from Russia. So here we are at the Senate Square, one of the prominent locations in the city. So that over there, the orangey looking building, straight ahead, they're the only place in Helsinki they sell meat, bear meat. So they got a lot of brown bears in Finland. It's a cold country. There's a lot of them up in the north. So people who would like to try, they can come to that restaurant and give it a go. It's expensive, about 75-85 a plate, or the little portion for like 35-ish, if someone just wants to tick the box off. This is Alexander II, a Russian guy. He's a good Russian. There's a lot of stuff happening, guys. Like, I wish I could cover bit of pieces and everything, but I think if you ever get a chance, definitely come here for longer. I should have stayed here for 2 nights or 3 days, but I'm doing 2 days here this afternoon. So literally in 2.5 hours, I'm catching a big ass ship to Stockholm in Sweden. It's going to be an overnight cruise, so I'll be definitely making a video of that. Would love to see you in those videos. So please consider subscribing to the channel and join the travel journeys. This is too cold. I'm leaving this part of the world very soon. I can't deal. I don't like cold.